Ladies, let me tell you something straight from the jump, because I don't waste words when it comes to your value. A smart woman is not the one with the most books read, the fanciest degree, the loudest voice in the room, or the flashiest look. A smart woman is the one who knows who she is, knows what she stands for, and refuses to break the rules that protect her heart, her spirit, respects her future, and her peace. See, the problem is a lot of women think that being smart means being quick with answers, being clever with words, but real smartness is not about your mouths. It's about your decisions, and decisions are made in the quiet of your mind long before you ever speak them out loud. So when I say smart women never break these rules, I mean they have a code. So they have non-negotiables. They have a standard that they do not compromise for anybody. And that's what separates them from the ones who constantly find themselves broken, lost, confused, and wondering why love, respect, or success keeps slipping through their hands. Smart women know that rules are not cages, rules are not punishments, rules are not restrictions, they are protections. A rule is a fence around your garden so that the wolves don't come in and tear up your flowers. A rule is a boundary line that says this is how you treat me if you want to stay in my life. A rule is a declaration to yourself that you will not betray your own worth just because you're lonely, just because you're scared, just because you're tired of waiting. And let me tell you something, when a woman has rules and keeps them, people may not like it, but they will respect it. They may complain, but they will comply. They may test it, but they will learn you're not breaking. That's the kind of strength that makes you unforgettable. Now, rule number one that smart women never break is this: never beg for love. Love is not something you chase down like a bus you're about to miss. Love is not something you squeeze out of a man who doesn't want to give it. Love is not something you audition for like you're trying to prove your worth. A smart woman knows that her presence is already valuable. She knows that if a man doesn't see her worth, it's not her job to shine brighter. It's his job to open his eyes. Too many women get caught up in begging for the bare minimum. Can you call me back? Can you make time for me? Can you treat me right? Baby, if you gotta beg, you already lost. A smart woman never lowers herself to beg for what should be basic. She knows that begging drains dignity, and dignity is one thing she's never gonna lose. Rule number two is simple, but it will save you years of heartache. Never ignore red flags. Now listen, specs, I know the heart gets loud. I know attraction gets exciting. I know sometimes loneliness whispers so strong you'll convince yourself that toxic looks like love. But a smart woman trains her eyes and ears to pay attention to patterns, not promises. She hears when his actions don't match his words. She sees when his consistency doesn't line up with his sweet talk. And instead of excusing it, she acknowledges it. Because here's the truth, what you ignore in the beginning will destroy you in the end. Smart women don't fall in love with potential, they fall in love with reality. They don't create a fantasy in their head and try to drag a man into it. They look at who he is, how he moves, and they make decisions based on facts, not feelings. That's wisdom. That's strength. That's how you protect your heart. Rule number three is this: never lose yourself for somebody else. Oh, this one right here has destroyed more women than anything else I've ever seen. You meet somebody, you're excited, you start pouring everything into them. You stop hanging out with your girls. You stop pursuing your dreams. You stop taking care of yourself because all your focus is on him. And before you know it, you've disappeared. Smart women don't play that game. They know that the quickest way to lose respect in a relationship is to lose yourself inside of it. A smart woman continues to grow, continues to dream, continues to glow even while she's loving somebody. She knows that love is supposed to add to her, not erase her. And if being with someone costs her identity, that's too expensive. She knows her worth and she refuses to trade it just to say she's got somebody. Rule number four, never settle for less than respect. Respect is not optional. Respect is not negotiable. Respect is not something you tolerate sometimes and excuse other times. It is the foundation of love, the proof of value, the backbone of commitment. A man can say he loves you all day long, but if he disrespects you with his words, disrespects you with his actions, disrespects you with his choices, that "I love you" is nothing but noise. Specs. Smart women don't confuse attention with respect. Just because he's blowing up your phone doesn't mean he honors you. Just because he wants your body doesn't mean he values your soul. Respect shows up in consistency, in how he listens, in how he includes you in decisions, in how he speaks about you when you're not around. And if a man can't give that, a smart woman knows how to dismiss herself from the table. Rule number 5, never stop growing. A smart woman understands that her life is her responsibility. She doesn't sit around waiting for somebody else to come and complete her. She knows that completion is a myth. She is already whole. She keeps learning, keeps evolving, keeps pushing herself toward new levels. She reads, she listens. She builds, she networks, she dreams bigger than yesterday. She doesn't let life make her stagnant. Specs, because stagnant water starts to stink and stagnant people start to rot. Growth keeps her alive. Growth keeps her glowing. Growth keeps her attractive. A smart woman doesn't let herself get stuck just because she found comfort. She knows that complacency kills dreams, so she keeps climbing. Rule number 6, never ignore your intuition. God gave you something inside that warns you before danger hits. Call it instinct, call it discernment, call it intuition, but whatever you call it, don't ignore it. A smart woman listens when her spirit says something ain't right. She doesn't drown that voice out with excuses. She doesn't silence it with fantasy. She pays attention. How many times have you looked back at a heartbreak and said, "I knew it, I felt it, I saw the signs, but I ignored it"? Smart women don't do that. They trust that little nudge inside. They trust that inner alarm that says, "This ain't the move." Intuition has saved more lives and more hearts than logic ever will. Don't ever break that rule. Rule number 7, Pecs. Never settle for a love that costs your peace. Peace is priceless. Without peace, money won't matter, success won't matter, even love won't matter, because you'll be too stressed, too broken, Pecs, too exhausted to enjoy it. A smart woman knows that drama, chaos, and toxicity are not signs of passion, they are signs of dysfunction. She doesn't romanticize pain. She doesn't call struggle ride or die. She knows that a man who loves her will not put her through hell just to prove she's strong enough to handle it. She knows that peace is her birthright, and if a relationship costs her sleep, costs her joy, costs her mental health, it's not worth the price. A smart woman guards her peace like it's treasure, because it is. Ladies, these rules are not suggestions. They are not maybes. They are not sometimes. They are forever. A smart woman never begs for love, never ignores red flags, never loses herself, never accepts disrespect, never stops growing, never ignores her intuition, and never sacrifices her peace. These rules will separate you. These rules will elevate you. These rules will keep you from wasting years of your life on people and situations that were never worthy of you. And let me tell you something powerful. When you hold to these rules, the right man, the right people, the right opportunities will respect you more for it. See, when you have rules, the wrong ones will leave, but that's a blessing because they weren't for you anyway. The right ones will rise to the occasion. The right ones will match your standard. The right ones will love you the way you deserve because you refuse to accept anything less. Smart women are not lucky. They are disciplined. Smart women are not hard to love. They are hard to play. Smart women are not impossible to please. They just know their worths. And when you live by these rules, when you protect your value, when you refuse to break what keeps you whole, you become the kind of woman nobody forgets, nobody replaces, nobody disrespects. Because the truth is, when you respect yourself enough to live by these rules, the world has no choice but to respect you too. Love is one of the most powerful forces in the world. And yet it is also one of the most misunderstood, because so many people have been taught that to love means to give until it hurts, to sacrifice until there is nothing left, to chase after someone who refuses to meet them halfway, to settle for breadcrumbs of affection instead of a full meal of devotion. But the truth is that love was never designed to be begged for. And the moment you find yourself begging, pleading, lowering yourself for the attention or validation of another human being, you have already stepped out of the truth of love and into the illusion of desperation, and that desperation will drain you of your dignity, your self-worth, your confidence, until you no longer recognize who you are. Because begging for love teaches someone that your heart is cheap, your time is cheap, your presence is cheap. And when someone believes they can have you at a discount, they will never pay the full price of commitment. When you beg for love, you strip yourself of the very power that makes you magnetic. Because love thrives on freedom, not force. Love thrives on choice, not compulsion. And if you have to convince someone to choose you, then they were never really choosing. They were tolerating. They were appeasing. They were giving you just enough to keep you around, but never enough to fulfill you. And that cycle becomes poison to your soul. Because every time you lower your standards to fit someone else's comfort, you send a message not only to them, but to yourself that you are not worthy of more. And that message begins to settle into your spirit until it becomes a belief. And once it becomes a belief, you start living as though it were true. Begging for love is like pouring water into a broken cup. No matter how much you give, it will never be enough. Because the issue is not the water. It's the container. It's the place where you are pouring. And no matter how much effort you pour into the wrong person, they will not hold it. They will not value it. They will not be changed by it. And the tragedy is that you will think the problem is you. That if only you gave more, tried harder, proved yourself louder, forgave quicker, looked prettier, sacrificed deeper, then maybe finally they would love you the way you long to be loved. But the truth is the problem is never your worth. The problem is always their inability to see it. Love cannot be demanded. It cannot be negotiated through tears. It cannot be earned by suffering. It cannot be unlocked by lowering your standards. Real love recognizes value without needing to be convinced. Real love does not make you beg for a seat at the table. It pulls out the chair and says you belong here. Real love does not make you chase after scraps. It lays the feast before you because it delights in giving. Real love does not say, prove yourself worthy. It says, I see your worth already. And anything less than that is not love. It is control. It is manipulation. It is convenience dressed in the costume of care. The reason begging for love is so dangerous is because it not only distorts your view of the other person, it distorts your view of yourself. And when your view of yourself is twisted, you begin to believe lies that keep you trapped in cycles of pain. You start to believe you are hard to love. You are too much. You are not enough. You are replaceable. You are disposable. You are lucky to have even crumbs of affection. And those lies become chains that hold you hostage in relationships that are beneath you, in spaces that drain you, in dynamics that strip you of your joy. And the more you believe those lies, the harder it becomes to walk away. Never beg for love, because the moment you do, you make the relationship unequal. You place yourself in the position of servant and the other person in the position of master. And love was never meant to be hierarchy. Love was meant to be partnership. It was meant to be balance. It was meant to be mutual giving, mutual respect, mutual pursuit. And when one person is always begging while the other is always withholding, it creates a power dynamic that crushes the spirit of the one who begs, because they are always waiting for the next text, the next call, the next apology, the next gesture, and their entire peace becomes dependent on whether the other person decides to throw them a scrap of attention. Never beg for love, because when you do, you are teaching someone how to treat you. And people learn quickly. If you show them you will accept disrespect, they will give it. If you show them you will accept being ignored, they will ignore. If you show them you will accept lies, they will lie. But if you show them that your love comes with standards, if you show them that your heart is not a playground for someone's immaturity specs, if you show them that your presence is valuable and not guaranteed, then they will either rise to meet you or they will fall away. And either way you win, because you are no longer wasting your time begging for something that should be given freely. Begging for love drains your power, but walking in self-respect restores it. And the more you stand in your worth, the less you need to convince anyone of it, because worth is not a debate. Worth is not a courtroom where you argue your case. Worth is an unshakable truth that does not bend based on someone's ability to see it. And when you live from that truth, you radiate an energy that cannot be ignored. You carry yourself differently. You speak differently. You decide differently. And people feel it. They sense that you are not desperate. You are not pressed. You are not starving for love, because you are already full within yourself, and fullness attracts fullness, while emptiness only attracts users. Never beg for love, because the one who truly loves you will never require you to pecs. They will never put you in a position where you have to compete for their attention. They will never make you feel like an option when you have treated them like a priority. They will never sit back and watch you cry for what they could freely give, because to someone who truly loves you, your tears are sacred. Your time is sacred. Your presence is sacred. And the thought of you feeling unwanted would break them. Because when love is real, it does not take joy in your desperation. It takes joy in your joy. It does not take power in your weakness. It shares strength in your strength. It does not feed on your begging. It thrives on your flourishing. The most dangerous lie you can ever believe is that love must be earned through suffering. That the more you endure, the more you will be rewarded. But that is not love. That is conditioning. That is trauma speaking through your experience. And if you want to break free, you must unlearn that lie and step into the truth that love is never something you should have to beg for. It is something that is either freely given or it is not there at all. And if it is not there, then no amount of begging will create it. No amount of lowering yourself will awaken it. No amount of suffering will convince it, because real love does not need convincing. It only needs recognition. And never beg for love. Because when you do, you lose time. Specs, and time is the one currency you cannot get back. Every day you spend chasing someone who refuses to love you is a day you could have spent building yourself, healing yourself, loving yourself, preparing yourself for the one who will see you without being told, who will choose you without being chased, who will value you without being begged. And when that person arrives, you will realize that all along you were worthy, all along you were enough, all along you were valuable. You must never give anyone the impression that your love is free, because love is not free. Love costs effort, it costs sacrifice, it costs consistency. And when someone pays that price willingly, it shows they value it. But if you give it away without requiring anything in return, and you rob yourself of the chance to be truly cherished, because to be cherished, you must first be respected. And to be respected, you must first be receptive. You must first respect yourself. How are you?